Oh, hi, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us once again on this live YouTube session. My name is Nduta Wambura, and if you're new to this channel, you know what to do. You have to keep subscribed, put your notifications bell on so that you can get notified every single time we have a fantastic conversation. And today is no exception. As usual, we have a fantastic guest with us who is going to speak about Marie Curie Fellowships. I don't want to say the other name in between there because I know it always sounds as if it's a name that is Polish or different language, and I don't want to misspell it or mispronounce it rather. So today I just want to speak to one of the most brilliant minds I met in the recent past. Her name is Veronica. She's from Uganda, all the way, very close to Kenya. And she is the Marie Curie Austrian chapter chairperson. So she is going to tell us all about Marie Curie, the funding that you can be able to actually apply for, whether you're looking to do a PhD or your postdoc, or she's going to also weigh in on any other opportunities that might be available within Europe or any other continent, and you can take advantage of them and apply for funding to go and study your postgraduate studies. So without further ado, I want to welcome Veronica Nabbosa. I might be saying that wrong as well, so please correct me, Veronica, and let me know whether I am pronouncing it correctly. So hi, how are you?
Hi, dear. So you really did a great job because by now I'm used to so many pronunciations of my name, having been around so many places. So
Yeah.
anything close to the reality is okay.
Okay. So I hope I did your name justice. So I did not butcher it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Thank you so much for taking time to join us on today's conversation today. I am so excited to have this conversation because having met you and having understood your journey and having seen you even on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and how you connect with your audience and everything is amazing to have you on board here. And of course, to speak about Marie Curie. So introduce yourself. I have said enough already. So tell us who you are and what you do, where you live, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. My name is Veronica Nabbosa, and I'm really humbled to be invited to this platform.
Yeah.
I come from Uganda, as she mentioned, so we are neighbors right there in the east.
Yes.
So currently, I live in Vienna, Austria, and I've been living in Austria for the last 3.5 years.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Uganda, but I had my bachelor's degree in Shanghai, in China, at Donghua University. I had my master's degree at the International University of Japan, in Japan. Had my PhD here in Austria. And I just finished my Marie Curie Fellowship last year in November.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So, which means that, coming from Uganda, you went all the way to Japan, or what was the journey in between? You finished your undergraduate in Uganda, I would imagine, and
In
then
China.
In China. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what was the first motivation for you to even dare to study abroad? Because that's something that we rarely have as African students and African prospective students. What was your biggest motivation to study abroad in the first place?
The hopelessness that I had. And I really wanted to overcome
Define hopelessness, please. Yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, my mom, I grew up with my mom. So my mom passed on
Okay.
when I was in the second year at the university in Uganda. So for that, I didn't finish my university. And I tried to close the chapter of going to school completely. So I started to leave and I tried to do business, which was a successful business. By that time, internet was so rare. So I had an internet cafe with secretarial bureau near a major university. So I was really making money, but I dreamt bigger.
Yes.
And regardless how much effort that I was putting in, I didn't see the mileage. I felt I was putting in much more and
Okay.
recovering so little. So
Okay.
I think I needed to change places. I needed to
Yeah.
change the position. So,
Okay. Yeah.
and but I didn't go to school directly. Leaving Uganda, I went to work with an NGO in Hong Kong as a volunteer.
Yeah.
The people really loved me. I connected well. I was very well welcomed. But I had um, this uh, this goal to go back to school
Okay.
because before, even in my childhood, I had always been a good student.
Okay.
And then, so I really wanted to finish school because, yeah, the people loved me, but that wasn't sustainable. I really needed to finish school.
Yeah.
And when I looked for a university in Hong Kong, they were really expensive, and I didn't have very excellent grades to get a scholarship. But I got into a university in Shanghai, so I
Okay.
started from there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so in Shanghai, how was your experience in Shanghai? Because now, I mean, coming from Uganda, different schooling system, different everything to in terms of food, the culture. Like, I mean, how was your experience studying there? I mean, you're new in this country. You're trying to make do your grades and everything. Like, how was the experience even in the university there?
I had a very good experience,
Okay.
and I was enrolled in a university which had two types of programs. One was the local program taught in Chinese. You had to first learn the language before getting enrolled there.
Yeah.
But because for me, I felt I wasn't so young to spend a year learning the language and then enroll in the degree
Yeah.
program, I
Right.
chose the other one where you had really to pay quite a lot of money.
Okay.
It was the international program where every person admitted in the program had to be a foreign passport holder.
Okay.
So I was there. It
Yeah.
was interesting to meet other people from different parts of the world. I think I've been with everyone from everywhere in my school or in my work.
Yeah.
And then what was motivating for me, what makes me different from other students,
Yeah.
because for me, I had some challenges, social challenges, which most of us from Africa face. I
Yeah.
wasn't from a rich family. I was
Right.
struggling, working, depending on well wishers, having a child. I'm a single mother, by the way. My son is 17 years old right now.
Oh
So
wow.
that time he was even young. I have to
Yeah.
take care of the child. I have to work. I have to struggle. So I was like kind of socially an outlier
Right.
going through a program where it's only the rich people's children who have businesses with China, and they brought their children to learn business about China and go back home or start a company in China.
Yeah.
But yeah, I accepted that, which was really helpful. I
Okay.
didn't fit in there, and I didn't try to fit in there.
Yeah.
So I was living my own life, but because my child was going to school with other foreign important people's children, then I
Right.
had friendship with other people from all the other parts of the world.
Okay.
And these were really inspiring people, like C-level managers of international companies. We meet at
Right.
the international church, we meet at my child's school.
Yeah.
And for me, it was really motivating. I
Right.
really, for the first time, I saw extravagant lifestyle. No, not
For the first
extravagant,
time.
but
Yeah.
very cool lifestyle, if you know what I mean. Like the kind of people who dream about, oh, I think we are having a public holiday next weekend. We need to
Right.
go to
Yeah.
Thailand. There is nothing like we have to save money. No,
Yeah.
just go if you want. So
Yeah.
I asked myself, but what is so special about these people? I realized they only had good education,
That's true.
and they strive to
Yeah.
perform more than average at their places of work. That's why
Yeah.
they are at sea level.
Yeah.
And all of them, not only white people, but also African people from Ghana, from Nigeria, heading big organizations in big companies. And that was so inspiring for me. I wanted to really have very good education and.
Wow. Wow, that is so inspiring in itself, like anyone who is listening, guys, if you're listening to this even much later, I mean, it is an epitome that it can be done. It doesn't matter where you come from, you can always push yourself out there and be able to achieve exactly what you want to achieve. It doesn't matter the country, honestly. So I big ups to you, Veronica. Honestly, I didn't know that part of it. So I'm glad that I know right now. And so now you finish your studies in Hong Kong. So what happens
in Shanghai? So
in Shanghai?
Yeah.
So what happens next after that?
And then, so I have seen all those people, and I have been convinced that the only thing that they have, that they are where they are, is because they had very good education. So I tried to find a job in Shanghai, and I didn't get the exact job that I was dreaming about. So I thought, you're not yet educated fully.
Okay.
You need more education. So at that moment, I was thinking about going for a master's degree in a more developed country.
Okay.
Because what I saw from those people, to be honest, nobody was educated from Africa. They were educated in the US, in Europe, somewhere. So I was looking for that. And I started applying for master's programs. In Asia, I considered only Japan and Singapore.
Okay.
But I was looking at the UK. Fortunately, I was admitted in a Japanese university faster before everything else happened. And that's how I moved to Japan for my master's.
Okay.
And after my master's degree, I worked in Japan for 1 year.
Oh, wow. And I mean, getting even into Japan in itself, it's quite the mind-boggling task, because I know I've heard of these stories, people saying they require for students to actually show a lot.
Stacks of documents. My cousin just wanted to come and attend my graduation ceremony, and he needed stacks of documents, and he's like, no, not for me. He gave up.
How did you get into that? Because that is very interesting as well. So, like, how did you get into a Japanese university for a master's?
First of all, I had a half scholarship.
Okay.
And I had adequate funding from a well-wisher who offered her bank statement from France. So, nobody would doubt that I would manage.
Yes, absolutely not. Yes.
And also, I was lucky.
Okay.
1 month after getting into the university,
yes,
there was a project by the Japanese Ministry of Education and Culture Exchange for excellent international scholarship for excellent international students, which covered like everything that I could have needed to cover extra.
Okay. Wow, absolutely amazing. So you studied in Japan and then got to work there for 1 year at least. So you have that work environment and of course this student, being a student first, and so you know the education system there. And I hear, I'm not quite sure, but I hear there are no rooms for mistakes. So I don't know whether this is what you experienced by then, or maybe it was a different story for you.
Exactly. And I would like to give an example. I think from one of my former classmates from Kenya. He had an internship opportunity at Mitsubishi Corporation. In Africa, we know Mitsubishi as a car manufacturing company, but they are so big. They are into healthcare, manufacturing cars, electronics, insurance, banking, everything. So he was at Mitsubishi Banking.
Okay.
And then during the internship, his supervisor asked him to stamp documents. And for us, a stamp is at the bottom of the page.
Yeah.
Exactly. Whether on the left or right or middle. So he was just stamping everywhere. And when he handed in the assignment, the supervisor said, "This is really not neat. You have to do it again. The stamp has to be on the right-hand side of the paper, exact distance from the margin of the paper." That was too much.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's never that serious, actually. So Wow. I mean, like, I would imagine, but that obviously laid the foundation for your excellence, and obviously coming into Europe now, and getting yourself into a PhD. And that is what is going to form the basis of our discussion today. Because I know we can spend hours and hours talking about this. We should have you back here to tell us of the stories you've been through from all the countries that you've gone. Because I know you love to travel, and I'm sure you've had loads and loads of stories, which we should have a separate session for. So now you finished.
Let me mention this briefly. So I'm
Yeah.
here in Austria, and usually when I'm doing the document things in any offices and they ask me to sign, I'm
Yeah.
always keen to ask, where exactly should I be signing? And they're like, oh, wow, in Germany, it's okay, anywhere. I can sign anywhere.
It doesn't matter. Well, at least you have an easier life now.
Yeah.
But that's very interesting. So now you finish your masters, you finish, you work for 1 year, and then you decide to keep pursuing education, or what happened there?
Oh, yeah. So I was working in Japan for 1 year, and yeah, my employers really loved me so much because I always got very excellent evaluations about my performance at the job.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm not saying that Japan is not a good country. It's an excellent country, and I encourage everyone, before you die, go to Japan. So, but
I will remember that. Okay.
yeah. But for me, I felt a very big gap culture-wise. Socially, they are extremely organized, and I would say programmed.
Yeah.
Which is not a very African thing.
We
So
love to have
this is a very nice place.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful for the experience, but I don't want to make it home.
Yeah.
I really wanted to go to Europe.
Right.
So when my contract was always renewal every after 1 year. So when I finished my contract, my boss asked, so what's the status quo? And I said, I'm going home. But actually, I had already started applying for jobs in Europe.
Yeah.
And then I went back home to Uganda.
Okay.
And the transition for me between China and Japan was so fast. Within 3 months, I had already transited. So I thought it is the norm for me, Veronica Superwoman. 3 months, you will always just like that.
Yeah, it's cut and paste. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it took me 2 years before getting the opportunity in Europe.
So all this time, for the 2 years you spent in Uganda trying to come into Europe, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, but I was teaching at universities in Uganda.
Yes.
I thank God for that experience, to try to reconnect and also to be sure where exactly I want to spend most of my life. Yes. Uganda is a very beautiful place, but I prefer to stay in Europe. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So now, 2 years on, you're applying for jobs. Are you applying for PhD opportunities or just jobs in this case? Because that was very important to me.
Very important, and I want everybody to note that if you don't have a job, applying for jobs is a full-time job. You do it every day until you get the one that you want.
Yeah.
So I was just applying for both jobs and PhD. Whenever I saw a job and I had the qualifications, I applied for it. Whenever I saw a PhD and it's within my area of interest, I would apply for it.
Right.
And thank God.
Yes.
For the Marie Curie opportunities or fellowships.
Yeah.
You get it. I saw on one of the so many platforms doing my full-time job of searching. And I saw Marie Curie opportunity.
Yes.
And I even put the salary that you get for the fellowship. Oh my God, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah. I applied for it. Knowing that I'm applying for a scholarship, and by any means, if I got it, it will be me coming with a student's visa. But it's the other way around.
Right.
You get a full-time job as a researcher at the university.
Yeah.
But you also get a PhD.
Right.
Depending on which part of Europe you are, we are lucky here in Austria, education from kindergarten to PhD, post-PhD, everything is for free,
Wow.
as long as it's a government institution. So when I came in, I had my full-time job with all the benefits of a full-time employee, but also enrolled at the university for a PhD where I paid nothing.
Okay. Wow. So you found this opportunity online while you are looking for a job or a PhD or in Europe, and then you found this opportunity just abruptly, or did someone tell you about it, or how was it?
It was a post on a group on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I saw people were commenting, oh, this is higher than what I would get than what I got in the USA doing my PhD. I think people were insinuating because it looked a bit unrealistic. It was better paying than most PhD.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
I didn't insinuate. I didn't comment. I applied.
That's a smart way to go. And guys, if you're listening to us, obviously interact with us on the comment section and let us know where you're listening in from, what questions you might be having about getting a funding opportunity in Europe via Marie Curie. Like Veronica mentioned here, she actually found this post on was it Facebook, is it? So
yeah.
So I mean, look, you are in the right place. You're listening to this here on YouTube, and let me tell you, the Marie Curie opportunities are actually open right now and will close in November. So you have quite a bit of time to actually write your proposal if you need to write your proposal, because that is mind-boggling, which we are going to maybe touch on a little bit here. But so, who is Marie Curie? Veronica, you're the best person to actually ask this question, because there's Marie Skłodowska. I obviously say that.
I'm also afraid of mentioning that middle name.
Because everyone is usually like, who is this person? So what is Marie Curie really, and what is the fellowship about? What's the funding about? What's the basis that anyone who is listening to this would like to know? And obviously form a basis of what they can actually apply for, whether it's doctoral, postdoctoral, maybe research, I don't know. Tell us.
So Marie Curie was a Polish chemist.
Okay.
And she won two, if I'm not mistaken, two Nobel Prizes in chemistry research. Her husband, one she won by herself, and the other one she won with her husband. Okay. What a nice way of making things. So, and then this fellowship was named after that researcher. Okay. But the Marie Curie Fellowship funds all research areas, not only chemistry, not only natural sciences, social sciences, engineering, IT, medicine, everything. They fund everything.
Okay.
So the project is one of the initiatives by the European Union to empower research and knowledge all over the world. Okay. So the Marie Curie Fellowships are given out to students from any part of the country. Okay. And we have an alumni association called the Marie Curie Alumni Association, in short, MCA. Yes. And this is in so many countries. We have an African chapter, but we have many chapters in Europe, in Americas, in Canada, and So, and to join the Alumni Association, you must have completed or being enrolled in a Marie Curie Fellowship. Okay. But to apply as a new applicant, you don't need an association with anybody. So there are some fellowships that are given by specific universities. They have already applied for these grants, millions of euros, and now they are seeking for researchers to join these programs as PhD student workers or postdoc researchers. And there are also some for experienced people who are already having their PhD and have spent maybe 3 to 5 years in research. They have very good ideas. They can apply for their own funding and also recruit researchers who could be PhDs or postdocs.
Oh, wow. Okay. So which means that it is a well-rounded program. And, of course, if someone is looking for a PhD, then can they apply as an individual? Because that is one of the many questions that I was asked. Can someone apply for a PhD as an individual, or they have to go through an institution that has already been granted this amount of money to get students to study, their PhD? Which is the best way to go?
Okay, so the Marie Curie thing, I'm sorry to say, maybe I shouldn't apologize. It's a very big thing. That means there are so many opportunities for everyone.
Yeah.
There are some fellowships that you can apply for because the university has already got the funding and they are looking for people to work on a project.
Yeah.
That's how I came here. They had already got the €3 million grant and they were looking for 14 researchers.
Okay.
So, but there are also individual fellowships where you apply by yourself. But this is what I talked about. You must already be having a PhD and quite some years of research experience, full-time research experience. Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
So, which means that you cannot apply as an individual. You have to go through an institution, correct?
You can apply as an individual if you already have several years of research experience.
Okay. And this
you
research
can apply for a grant and employ us, the shy ones.
Oh, well, good to know. So I have two questions already. So these universities that might have already gotten that grant, are they universities in Europe? Are they universities back at home, for example? Which universities? I mean, like, I'm an individual here thinking of doing a PhD through Marie Curie. I want to get that funding. So do I check for a university in Europe, or should I go through my university back at home that might have that funding? How does it go?
I have to say, at the moment, the Marie Curie partners are not so much spread in parts outside Europe.
Okay.
So most of the scholarships are in with European universities.
Okay.
I know we have fellows in Japan, in Asia Pacific, in the Americas, or in Canada, but most of them are in Europe. So the best way, you have just shared the link over there.
Yes.
Click on that link, see which opportunity is available for you. There are also other links which I hope you will share. The Euraccess, for example, also has opportunities from all over the world, even outside the few ones that we have outside Europe. They're also available on these platforms.
Yes. Okay. So, and the other question was, if I want to apply as an individual, how many years of research should I have? Like maybe after my PhD, how many years of research after PhD, or how many years of research after? Can I do it after my master's? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, because it's very competitive. We have to agree on this. It is the thing. It's really competitive.
Yeah.
So you could apply when you have a master's degree, but how competitive are you to beat the people with a master's degree and excellent publications and some years of publishing and research? It's really almost impossible. So to be realistic, you would have a PhD and some years of experience in research.
Okay, so there's no other way around that. So unless maybe you have shown that after your master's, your research was really, really, really something that is very relevant. And I would imagine, like they usually say, that you would have to have spent some bit of time in Europe for you to apply for a postdoc. Am I wrong?
No, that's not correct. You can apply from any part of the world. You don't have, for example, you just asked about postdoc, but for me, for the PhD fellowship, I had never come to Europe.
Right.
Actually, I applied for this when I was in Uganda. So I even had the interviews from Uganda in our sitting room via, that time was Skype. There was no Zoom. Maybe it was there.
Okay. So guys, if you're listening to this, I already shared on the comment section the link towards the Marie Curie jobs for researchers. So like Veronica mentioned here, you can actually go ahead and check on that link and see what is relevant to you and begin the application procedure. You can also check on the Euraccess website. I also shared that in the comment section, so you can check the Euraccess website for Marie Curie funded opportunities, as well as I think other opportunities. Not I think, actually, there are other opportunities funded by different European entities, and you can find them right there and apply for them as a job. And at least they tell you exactly the procedure of, even the interviews and everything. They pretty much tell you everything that you need to know ahead of time, unlike other programs where you don't know what to expect. So please go ahead and do that. And now, so we know how to find these Marie Curie opportunities. So are there any deadlines, or if someone is thinking that, hey, maybe I want to start my program, perhaps maybe next year, or I don't know, next year should be the time that maybe they can begin, right? Because I think the deadline is, I don't know, you tell me, is it in November for PhDs, or when is the deadline?
And so I have to say, if you're an experienced researcher applying for your individual fellowship, like you get your own funding, and employers, the shy ones, there are deadlines for that. You will find them on the Marie Curie website.
Yeah.
But if you are looking for a project and the university already has the funding, that depends, because they have different programs throughout the whole year. You just have to keep looking.
Right.
For example, myself, I'm looking for a postdoc opportunity, but some of them, I expect the responses in July. Positions might start in September. Others start next year in April. So you just keep looking and just keep applying.
Okay. All right. So let's delve into the application procedure, because this is always something that people scratch their heads about. So I have gone onto that website for the Marie Curie jobs. I have seen a very good opportunity for me that is very relevant to what I have been doing. So what happens next? I mean, I click and maybe start applying, but I know there is a place where I have to write a proposal or something of the sort. And can you take me through maybe your experience applying for Marie Curie? Because now you did all these kind of things in Uganda. So maybe you can share your experience and let us know and give us some pointers on what to look out for.
I have to say that different universities have different criteria for accepting people applying for the fellowship. Even in one university, different departments have different specific criteria.
Yeah.
For example, for myself, but if you're dreaming of a PhD, just have a proposal ready. There is no other way around this one. This you must always have.
Okay.
I remember my experience when I started applying for PhDs. I started with a very bad proposal. But as I got rejected, I kept on improving it, looking at other people's work. Of course, especially people right from the master's program and they are going for a PhD. It's a very big transition from master's to PhD. It's different. You have to get used to reading what researchers write, how they write, educate yourself, watch YouTube videos, Google search how to. So, and start building your proposal, share it with experienced people in your university or friends. Even me, I'm happy to look at your proposal and give comments. You can contact me via my LinkedIn or Facebook or email. So have your proposal ready, improve it, and don't be lazy. Please, PhD is about reading a lot. That's why PhDs constitute only 1% of the world population. So it's not for everyone. I have had people dropping out of the PhD because PhD is about reading. If you hate reading, don't go for PhD. It's not for you.
Yeah.
So don't be shy. Read a lot. Get a lot of knowledge. Prepare your proposal. Share it with others. Improve it every day. And having done with the proposal part, look for the opportunity. Look at what they are looking for. because there are some universities where you have to prove your English proficiency.
Yes.
Even if we are English-speaking countries in the East,
Yes.
there is a checklist held and controlled by people who have never even heard of the word Kenya or Uganda or even where to find it. They are just checking IELTS or what is TOEFL, IELTS. They are just checking that.
Absolutely.
You cannot explain, oh, I've been studying in English from kindergarten. They have a checklist.
Yeah.
So to increase your chances, I recommend that you take your English proficiency exam, IELTS or TOEFL. Have it just in case you come across those people with a checklist.
Okay.
But having said that, there are still a few universities where they don't require you to have that. As long as you can prove you have had your bachelor's degree and master's degree taught in English,
right?
You don't need that.
And can you ask for a waiver? Because I know for Erasmus Masters, usually you can ask for an English test waiver from the university and show that you actually studied in English for your undergraduate. Is it possible to do that with Marie Curie or not?
As I said, it's from university to university and from department to department. Yeah, a lot of people will do that, but you could be unlucky that you have this administrative staff from Serbia and has a checklist. IELTS, TOEFL, you cannot even start explaining. She will just not understand.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So make sure that every other document is on point. So you say that the starting point is a proposal. And then from there you check what actually where you fit in within Marie Curie. So there's no set style of writing a proposal for Marie Curie, is it? Is there a specific way, a specific format, or you just write?
From my experience, a good proposal, you need at least 3 months, because maybe you need a month reading, you need a month writing, you need a month sharing it with other people and giving you comments on how to improve it. You just don't write it today and start applying with it tomorrow. There are still a lot of things to be improved.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, how was your experience actually? So you wrote your proposal and then you had somebody to check it for you in Uganda, or how did it go?
Yeah, I shared it with a few professors. They made my professors at masters. They made comments, and I also read. And as I read, I also saw how people were writing. For example, to be honest, I had problems with citing.
Okay, citations, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I needed to be educated on that.
So, I mean, what do you mean? Is it that you are citing journals or books that were not relevant, or maybe within a 5-year period, or what was the idea?
No. For me, to be honest, I thought I write something from somewhere and mention that I read it from somewhere or someone said this. I did not know that there were things like, for example, mainly programs which help you with your citation style and things like that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So invest in programs like Mendeley. Obviously, things to do with Grammarly, to check your grammar, because sometimes you might be writing the wrong thing anyway. And then have this proposal checked by someone else who can correct it to you. And then now you found your program online. Is it that you found that, okay, obviously, I know you have a background in project management, in IT and governance. So what was your PhD about, actually?
Oh, thank you so much. I think I should have mentioned this earlier. Sorry about that. So my PhD was in digital business, but I focused on data privacy.
Okay.
And in my my research topic was to identify data privacy legal risks within EU digital retail industry. And then as an outcome, I proposed a compliance checklist to help digital retail managers minimize these risks.
Right. So you came up with obviously there's a problem that you're trying to solve, and of course your proposal had to reverberate to what the opportunity was saying, the details and the description and everything. Or you're laughing. You should tell me.
I have to tell someone
Yeah.
this, which is so funny.
Yeah.
It's like when you make a business proposal,
Right.
you have things and you're like, yeah, in
Yeah.
3 months we will be making profit this much. And then when you're in business, things change.
Yeah.
The PhD experience is also like that.
Okay.
3 months into your PhD, your proposal is something very different. Maybe something you can even throw in the garbage bin. It's nothing to do with what you're doing. So be ready for that. Don't be surprised.
Okay. So that's what happened? Or what?
Yeah, exactly. Because I remember my proposal
Yeah.
is so distant from what I have done in the last 3 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I have another question here. So now you got the opportunity. Was the opportunity a mobility one? Because I know with Marie Curie, it's almost the same structure with Erasmus, where you get to go to different countries to study your PhD. So which universities did you actually go to for your PhD?
On our project was really big in itself. As I mentioned, 3 million euro funding, 14 researchers. We were in 5 different countries: Austria, Germany, Ireland, the Netherlands, and Sweden.
Okay.
So each researcher had their own topic or problem they were trying to solve. But for me, with my own project, I was lucky. I actually didn't want to move places because I have a son who is in high school. Then if I had to spend a few months somewhere else, it would be really challenging. So I was working at a university here in Austria, but I had 3 months at an Austrian bank.
Okay.
And thank God, or unlucky, I don't know, it was during COVID, so it was remote. I did leave my office at the university. Yeah, but I was having meetings and working with them virtually. So, but every after 3 to 4 months, I think we had training programs in one of those countries.
All right.
So we would spend 1 week. They call it the training week. We start on Sunday evening until Friday evening of the other week, and it was really intense. Yeah, and also in this, as a researcher, of course, what you are expected to do is to produce knowledge and share it. Thank God with the Marie Curie Fellowships, they are really well funded. There is a very good training budget. So if you're really productive, you can go different countries to present your research findings.
Yes. Okay. Absolutely amazing. And then, like, of course, which means that you would need to go to a maximum of 4 countries if, now that everything isn't up even with COVID. Is it that for candidates, they would go to at least 3 countries, or is there a limit, or there's no limit? It depends on the project.
Most of my colleagues went to 2 countries because for us on our project, some people were working at the university just like I did, but they had to go to a company. If the company was in another country, then they had to go to that country. They had to spend there 3 to 6 months at least. But for other people, they're working, especially the engineers, they were working at a company, but they had to be enrolled at a university in one of those countries. I think there was only one guy who had an experience in 3 countries because he was working in Austria, but he was enrolled in a university in Ireland, but he also had to spend a few months in the Netherlands. But most of them 2 countries max.
Okay. So, I mean, which means it's a fantastic opportunity because you also get to understand the European culture and interact with, the job market in Europe as well as the universities in Europe. So that's a very good opportunity to take advantage of. And like you mentioned, that it is well funded, which brings me to the next question, because we've spoken about this before, that, we have Marie Curie 2021 to 2027. which guys has been funded way, way, way more. I think it is 6.6 billion euros.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can take a piece of that, obviously. And can you tell us, is there any much of a big change that has happened for this new structure from 2021 to 2027? What can people expect as those who are actually applying from now? Obviously it's open between now and November if you guys want to actually apply for Marie Curie. Is there any much of a big change that has happened, or
There are a few minor alterations or changes.
Okay. Yeah.
For example, before, if you applied for a Marie Curie postdoc position,
Okay.
even if you didn't complete your PhD, but you had 4 years or 3 years of full-time research experience, you
Okay.
would still get in. But now, strictly, you must have your PhD at the end of the application period.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And other things have remained the same. For example, the mobility rule. If you
Yes.
plan to apply for a Marie Curie Fellowship and you have lived in the country where you are applying for more than 2 years, you don't qualify. You must not have lived in that country for the last 2 years.
Okay.
Unless you're a citizen. For example, if I'm Austrian,
yes,
then it's not considered that I'm applying for a Marie Curie Fellowship in Austria because of the mobility rule. I'm here. Where else can I live?
yeah. Okay, good to know. Good to know. And then, obviously, do we have any type of digital integration with the Marie Curie? Because obviously, owing to COVID, like you mentioned, you had to take some of the courses online. I don't know whether there is a provision for any type of digital, learning, or maybe online learning, depending on the circumstances. Like from you would attest to this. Obviously, some of us getting a visa to come to Europe is a whole other task in itself. And I don't know if somebody who is in Kenya or Uganda and applies for this Marie Curie Fellowship and gets in for a PhD or even a postdoc, and then they have some sort of delays with their visas or some sort of issues. Is there a provision to actually begin your studies online, and is this funded or not?
Again, I have to say that it depends on from university to university, but what I can assure you is that you will not have problems with your visa, most likely, because you will have a full-time job contract, of which your salary, to be honest, is higher than that of the visa officer where you're applying for the visa from.
Okay. I mean, you can tell us what range that is. Yeah. I mean, what is the range of the salary actually? Because that's good to mention.
From country to country.
Okay.
It depends because the cost of living differs. For example, here in Austria, it's different. Our minimum wage is 1,800 euros. It's higher in Sweden. It's higher in the UK. It's higher in the US. So depends. But of course, you will be above the average.
Yes.
Minimum wage. Yeah.
So I've seen several posts saying 3,000 euros, depending. I don't know. Of course, depending on the place, like you mentioned, and the country that you're going to. So I don't know whether there's a range between, maybe we can say 2,000 to 3,000, or even more, maybe.
I have to say it's above the minimum wage of any country that you will go to. And if you're married or have children, you also get extra, depending on the university, between 300 to 700 extra euros for the family allowance. And also because of the mobility rule, you also get extra 300 to 500 mobility allowance because you came from another country. If I go to Kenya to buy tomatoes, it's different for me compared to you. So they cater for that. It's a very well-funded program.
Okay.
So you asked about the online thing.
Yes.
This will be very difficult as we are talking about well-funded. What will they do with your money for going to conferences and doing other things when you are stuck in one place? You are not moving.
Yeah.
You have to move, and also many universities want you to be there in the lab or on campus or in the company working there. And also this is one of the objectives of the Marie Curie is to keep the network alive. You can't be isolated somewhere alone. That's why we have the training weeks and coming from all different countries, going for conferences. You can't. So online thing is maybe not a possibility.
Okay. Okay, good to know. So, I mean, and of course, that is the reason why you guys have the association. You have Marie Curie Alumni Association that is very supportive for such issues or that may arise depending on the situation, obviously. So, I guess there's a lot of support, and if, in fact, every European institution usually has this sort of support. So, if you need help, you can email, and someone is going to reply to that email. And
exactly, promptly.
Unlike our countries, we know what happens. Usually, someone is going to take their switch time before they can reply to you. So, guys, we want to go ahead into the question and answer section very shortly. So, if you have any questions, please post them on the comment section so that we can see them and we can answer them. I already have, I think, 3 or 4 questions that already I received on my social media handles. So please post your question on the comment section so that we can get into it very shortly. So I want to ask you, Veronica, now, you have now lived in Europe, and obviously you've seen the drill about PhDs and applying for postdocs and research opportunities. And what are some of the pointers that you have seen? Is it that, like African students, like you said, it's like PhD students are like, is it 7% across the globe? So they're not so many.
1% of the world population.
7% is too much. I'm inflating the figures here. So you said it's 1%. So why do we have such a low number? And what can you tell someone who is listening to this, whether they are from the African continent, any other continent, Australia, US, wherever? What are some of the pointers that you have seen that people fail to actually get their PhDs? You mentioned very, very, very well here that you took 2 years to get this opportunity, and you had to have the patience for someone to read your proposal. You had to have the patience to keep on looking for the best opportunity for you. And in fact, you
have to endure the boredom of reading so many articles.
And when you get into it, you have to keep reading. So PhD, if you don't read, then this is not something for you. So what are some of the pointers that you have, found out to be very helpful for someone who is looking to apply for a PhD or a postdoc or a research opportunity?
Very interesting question, and I would like to share the experience or the situation here in Austria, for example. Okay. We have a shortage of programmers, software developers, because before the Austrian education system wanted people to enroll in such courses if they were excellent in physics and mathematics.
Right.
And this is not a cup of tea for a lot of us all over the world. Yeah. So now we live in a digital era, and this country is highly digitalized. So there is a high demand for people. The students in such courses, before they even finish their degrees, before they, in their final year or second year, they are already fished out by companies and are paid very well.
Wow.
So for that reason, also, why take a PhD when you have a good job that is well paying?
Adulting 101. Okay. Yeah.
So, and also I have seen this, it's evident whenever I go for Marie Curie Fellowship gatherings, I find very few people in IT.
Right.
Because usually they found their job before finishing the PhD or even enrolling there.
Yeah. And they were like, no more studies. This is it.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And then, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is one of the reasons why we don't have so many PhDs. And also, I think PhD is not something for everyone, as we have already mentioned. If you hate reading, it shows in your work. You feel like an underdog because you are really poor at your performance and everyone else is doing well and you're going nowhere, so you drop out. But also earlier on, actually, even up to now, PhD is very expensive if it's not funded. And for this
Yeah.
reason, I want to mention this. If you plan to do a PhD, make sure that it's fully funded, because it's just so stressful to take the
Yeah.
PhD.
Yeah.
And if you have to pay for it, it's another stressful thing. So make sure it's well funded and fully funded so that you can just focus on the PhD, not on figuring out the financial part of it.
Yes.
Mm.
Okay. And then I mean, does Marie Curie have other research opportunities besides PhDs and postdocs? Can I come as an individual researcher just to have a project maybe for 6 months or 1 year, or that's not provided on the Marie Curie network, is it?
It depends on your research experience,
Okay.
because there are some projects depending. I think they are specific to different countries, but I see, competence centers
Yes.
these days.
Yeah.
Um, People with research from universities
Yeah.
want to actualize their research in practice to solve real life problems. So they go to such places. So there
Okay.
is a combination between what you do in the school and what is in practice.
Right.
Such places, and a lot of people are starting those things and tapping into the funding. So maybe you don't need a PhD, but you can recruit PhDs and you have interesting projects, and then you can
Yes.
apply for the funding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good to know. So now I think we are going to go to the question and answer section so that we can be on time as well. I do appreciate your time, obviously, right here. And I know it's evening already in Austria. So I just want to go directly into the questions. I will go to the questions which I received on my social media handle. And one of them was, can you talk a little bit about quote unquote cold emailing to professors if you're looking for a PhD? So I don't want to say anything here. So you take it away. Yeah.
High five for this question. In
Yes.
my experience, especially professors in Australia, they
Yes.
never reply. The ones who reply, they are saying, sorry, I already have a lot of supervisees.
Okay.
Others don't reply. But
Yeah.
the professors in the UK are very responsive.
Right. That's
Professors
very
in
true.
Switzerland and in German, they're really
Okay.
responsive.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe some people are lucky who go to Australia, and especially a lot of opportunities in that part of the world. They
Yes.
require you to have first contacted a
Yes.
professor, and he has confirmed to supervise
Okay.
your project or your research.
Yes. Yes.
I have given up on that part of the country, of the world, but I know there are so many welcoming researchers, senior researchers. For example, I submitted a proposal 2 weeks ago at a university in the UK, and the professor told me, because I'm leaving the university, the department, and I'm going to only be a part-time employee.
Okay.
The proposal is interesting, but I'm not able to supervise it. And he recommended another supervisor,
Okay.
sent my proposal to the other supervisor who accepted it.
Oh wow.
So don't be discouraged, keep trying. Yeah, there are some who are really good, but there are some
Yeah.
who I pray to God that when I become that senior researcher, I cannot be like them.
So you mentioned a few countries that are very responsive. So at least the UK, I know of the UK. Sometimes they'll tell you, okay, fine, but we don't have funding for you. You have to look for the funding yourself. So the UK, Germany,
Switzerland.
okay. And then which other country? You
At
know?
least those ones that I know. But
Okay.
Germany, pretty much in Euro, in European countries, usually they do. Usually they do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's not look Austria so much. So for cold emailing, please just look for the funding already. Don't cold email
You keep
anyone.
trying. If they don't respond, write to another person who is interesting. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So is there a way, a certain type of way that you need to structure your email, your cold email to a professor, or perhaps maybe introduce yourself? Because obviously this is someone who doesn't even know you. So is there a certain type of format you would recommend, or?
On the flip side of the coin, the research profession is really very good. People are very kind and very supportive.
Yes.
Because if you have a proposal and it's really within his interest area or her interest area,
yeah,
they will really respond and they will be supportive. Even they will not supervise it. They will be like, this is interesting, but could you change this and that? And they give you a lot of advice.
okay, okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so I guess it's about shooting your shot and obviously structuring it the right way in words that people can actually understand and introducing yourself very well. So I guess that is one of the ways. So I'll go to the next
And
question.
one of the routes that I am using when I'm
Yeah,
reading and writing my proposals, of course, I'm doing my citations
yeah,
and I'm reading about someone's work and they argue like this, they discuss it like this. And I'm, oh,
yeah.
this is a very interesting person. From which university? Then I go to the website of that university
And
and
check.
on the publication or on the website of the university, they have their email addresses there. And
Right.
then the good way to start,
Yeah.
even to attract their attention, is to say that I have read your work about this topic and it's within my interest area, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
All right. I mean, I cannot add so much into that. Obviously, that is a very, very good point that you make. So I will go to the next question here. And someone asked, can I move with my family to study my PhD? I think you answered that before, right?
Yeah, and I'm also sorry, I need to add something.
Okay.
Um, Professors, I think I'm also just learning this.
Yeah.
Don't respond if you're writing a proposal and you're not citing them. Cite their work to show that you are interested. You are not only about the opportunity, but also you appreciate their work and you respect their work.
Yeah.
Some of them don't take it as a big point, but a lot
Yeah.
of them, they would be happy to see that you are even interested in their work. You are even citing their work.
Yeah. 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 Oh wow! So I mean, it goes down into saying, I am interested in your work because I've seen you do this A B C D E. I can see this
Mhm.
paper you wrote on this day, and it's actually what I want to study, maybe. So
Yeah.
okay, very good point.
Mhm.
Yes. So if you're
And
listening to this,
yeah, and so
take note
answering
of that.
the question about moving with family,
Yeah.
yeah, I mentioned that the Marie Curie Fellowship even has an extra additional allowance for you moving with your family. But family, they only mean your husband or your wife or your children, biological children,
Okay.
not aunties, no.
No aunties and uncles. So it has to be immediate family, obviously.
Yeah.
So good to know.
And sorry, I have to complete this.
Yes.
The funding that they give you to prepare to come
Yes.
includes from the time you start um, preparing for the visa. For example, my visa process was quite long. I had to certify the documents at the Austrian consulate in Uganda.
Yes.
And then, because we don't have an embassy in Uganda for Austria, I had to go all the way to Ethiopia in Addis Ababa
Oh,
to
yeah.
do because my visa would last for more than 3 months. So I had to do the biometric things.
Yes.
But I don't lose your receipts. Compile everything because all that those expenses are returned to you once you go to the university. And even the visas of your family members, they are paid for, including their renewals.
Oh wow. Okay. So I mean, it's almost the same drill with Erasmus that they reimburse your visa costs, and sometimes obviously they give you a travel allowance, or even pay your flight, depending on the program. So I think it's almost the same drill that we have. But it's good to know that you can move with your family, your immediate family. Please
Yeah.
don't go with aunties and uncles and extended family here. So okay. So next question was actually about, are there other European funded opportunities in Europe to do my PhD, or it's just Marie Curie? So, yeah.
Oh, there are so many. If you want, I think the key word, because I understand if you're in Africa and you're looking for the opportunity across the continent, how do I start? Ask Google, there will be a lot of garbage coming up.
Yeah.
But the key point what do you want? For example, I say I'm a nutritionist. So
Yeah.
I'm looking for a PhD in nutrition. This should be my starting point.
Yeah.
And then where? In Europe or in Austria. Then some universities will come up,
Yes.
and then you will be able to do that. So, and then individual universities have other funding opportunities other than Marie Curie.
Right.
But also specific countries, especially in Europe, they
Yeah.
invest a lot in research. Not all over Europe, but some countries really invest in research, because I've had some of the colleagues from Italy, from Greece, complaining about little funding in research. But
Right.
here in Austria, for example, we have the FWF and
Okay.
FFG. Just note
Yes.
this, even if I don't share the link, just say FFG Austria or FWF Austria. You will see so many funding opportunities there. And I
Yeah.
know different countries have different funding projects.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So it's up to you to actually check online. And in fact, one of the resources, guys, that I posted was the Euraxis website, which I talk about a lot because it has a load of opportunities that you can actually check out. In Europe, you can also check for websites like academicpositions.eu or academic positions anywhere else. Honestly, there are quite a number of them. We have websites like Find a PhD because again, it's always good to have these websites that could be a little bit more credible, not a little bit more credible. They are more credible than you just going online and finding an advertisement and it's a scam and it's too good to be true. And you know, like us East Africans, we are scammed quite a lot. And so sometimes it's very easy to become skeptical about a position and you're like, are they sure they want to pay all this money for me to study and do the research?
I'm just laughing because I remember those guys who were commenting on the opportunity that I applied for, insinuating, wow, it pays higher than my PhD in the US.
How, Veronica? How can you do that? Yeah. So I think, like you said, do your due diligence. Let Google be your friend and check out. Of course, listen to websites and YouTube videos which are credible, which might be giving you the right information. And Marie Curie is one of the best opportunities that you can actually apply for. So I'll go to the comments right here. So Titus, thank you so much for joining in. Just when you ask, is it only for PhD students only? I think we answered this already, but it's not just for PhDs; it's also for postdocs. And you also mentioned about research. Like if you find
research experience.
Yeah. Okay. So Peter says, yes, be ready. That's great advice. I bet it's when you are saying that be ready to do a PhD. It's not easy, is it? Yeah. So I think I'm all out of questions. One thing that I want to ask you is about your life in Austria. Because look, Veronica, you've been to all these places, nice places. You've been from Uganda, Shanghai, to Japan, now in Europe, in Austria. How is the difference between, all these countries? And one, the structure of study. And two, one major culture shock that you might have had that has settled in with you for quite a long period of time. I know you have quite a number of them, but I would like you to share just a little bit of it and how your life has been in Austria, honestly. So as compared to, Shanghai, Japan, Uganda, which one would you prefer if you were to be told that this is where you live forever?
This is one of the very interesting questions that I usually get. People ask me, so which one was the best for you?
Yeah.
And I say, I don't have any answer because every one of them was unique in its own way. As I mentioned, for Shanghai, this is where I met the people and I'm like, wow, you are filthy rich. How come? And I just realized they went to school. I was inspired. So whenever you are out, I want to advise the people you hang out with. Of course, we have to hang out with our Ugandan friends, Kenyan friends, but if we are going to just discuss ugali, chapati, beans, then it's like out of order, because the best ugali is in Kenya. If I want to eat the best ugali, I go to Kenya. I don't come to Europe. So the people you hang out with really matter a lot.
Right.
Shanghai for me was really good, and it was a very international city. It's one of the most international people. Like, people accept
Yeah.
your difference. Even Chinese people,
Yes.
they understand you are not Chinese. So even
Right.
when you speak broken Chinese, they don't laugh at you. Actually, they encourage you to speak more. They are very welcoming. And the
Okay.
food has been one of the best foods in the world. Although at first I would look at those pictures and videos and I'm like, oh my God, this looks like snakes. This is what? But you just have to dive into the culture and you will appreciate everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really nice in China, and pretty much maybe things have changed now, but that time they used to say what is not possible in China is not possible anywhere else. Like everything
Absolutely.
was
Everything
possible
happens.
outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then moving to Japan, oh my
Yes.
God, the ordering, being orderly in
Yes.
a very orderly society.
Yeah.
Remember, I had one of my former professors in Shanghai. He was Korean, and he gave us this joke about space,
Yes.
how people maximize space. He
Okay.
said there was a parking space, same measurements,
Yes.
and then the people were asked to park the car. The American person could only park a few cars, less than 5 cars,
Yes.
because they weren't big, and so it was big and the space was already filled up.
Right.
Japanese person parked about 50 cars because they are orderly and they maximize the space.
Yeah.
And the Korean person parked in between 5 cars for the American and the 50 for the Japanese.
Right.
And then the Chinese person parked
Yeah.
only one car. Do you know
Yeah.
why?
Yes.
They parked it at the entrance, so it blocked and no more
Ah,
space.
wow.
Different ways how people
Yes.
live, how they are orderly. But what I
Right.
appreciated about China and Japan, they embrace technology a lot.
Yeah.
For example, even people who don't earn very well, they will
Yes.
have a very huge TV in a very tiny apartment. They
Yeah.
will have the latest iPhones. They are very technologically aware. That was good.
Yeah.
So that is a welcoming. They are humble. They are polite. Compared to some places, I don't want to say bad things, but
Yeah.
I mean, compared to the US, I felt people were so aggressive. Going to
Yeah.
the restaurant, I always tip. I love to tip because I've ever worked as a waitress, and
Right.
I just finished there 2 weeks. I
Yes.
was crying every night. It was hard. I dropped the job, so I know how hard it is. I always tip whenever I eat out.
Yeah.
But I hate the tipping culture of people pushing and asking 10%, 20%. I felt so pushed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like it's a must. You have to do it. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh
So
wow.
and then coming here in Europe,
Yes.
in Austria, the thing
Yes.
that I really embrace a lot is about environmental conservation. It's
Oh,
so clean.
yes.
And the lakes, if I compare how the water in the lake just looks transparent, like as though you are looking into a mirror, and
Yes.
compare with our Lake Victoria with all the mix of colors in
Yes.
water.
It's
Yeah.
well preserved. Yeah.
And also the systems being clear. You know, the president of Austria takes public transport.
Oh wow.
What does this mean?
Would never happen in Uganda
Yeah.
or Kenya anyway. So
They
yeah.
have large convoys, but here he knows he has invested in that. The government has invested in public transport. It's perfect for everyone. So why not? If
Yeah.
you trust it, you will do it. In back in Uganda, every important person, whenever they are sick, they are sent to Germany, they are sent to USA.
Yeah.
Why don't you make the hospitals at home so that when they are sick, they are treated at home? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. What a journey. What a journey you've had, you know. You should write a book already. I'm just listening to this and I'm like, I think you should tell more of these experiences and people can relate so much to you. I can already relate so much to you moving from Kenya and daring into different spaces where people might look at you side eye, and you have to get to what you want to do in this country and get the most out of it, despite all the disparities and noises that might come around you. Like, I am so proud of you. I cannot say this enough. You should write a book already, Veronica. I'm considering that. Well, guys, I see you have posted some more questions. So Collins mentions here, talk about the skills that you'd advise a master's student to start developing before they make the transition. So I guess it's the skills that maybe if they want to make the transition from master's to PhD. So I don't know whether you have any skills up your sleeve that you can tell Collins about.
Yeah, first of all, as I mentioned earlier, taking your English certification is going to help a lot if you're going in an English program, taught program, or English working environment. It increases your chances, because if you meet those people with a checklist, they have no idea where Kenya is found, where Uganda is found. They just tick the checklist. TOEFL, IELTS, and you don't have them, then it's thrown already in the bin, and it doesn't mean that it's garbage, but they think it fits there. So first of all, get your English certificate, TOEFL or IELTS. Second, read about the research, some journal articles, see how people read. I have helped several students, even teachers at higher institutions, but they have never had a PhD, so they are applying for a PhD. I look at where they structure their proposal, and it's really lacking. They need some mentorship on that. So start reading some journal articles, and once you write your proposal, share it with people. Then we will tell you, okay, so after this follows, and this is how you do this, do that.
Okay, absolutely. Great points that you make here, Collins. I do hope that you get the motivation and the skills actually that you would like to develop. Obviously, it depends on what PhD as well that you would like to pursue in the future. And of course, translating this on paper, on your proposal, on your statement of purpose, because this is another thing that we can even start talking about. I don't want to open the can of worms about statement of purpose and the motivation as to why you want to actually do this. So I guess that is what you would need to do. Obviously, listening to people, talking to people on LinkedIn. These are some of the things that I would possibly personally say. Like, shoot your shot on LinkedIn, find the right people, talk to them, introduce yourself the right way. They can guide you through a certain process. If, for example, they are alumni of the program that you would like to go and study. So I do hope all the best for you, Collins. And Jonah mentioned here that any tips on how to secure master's scholarships in Europe? Oh my goodness, that's another kind of work, right? Any tips you would have? Of course, you studied your master's, in Japan, but I'm sure you have some few tips here and there you can throw in.
I think the Erasmus program is the best program for master scholarship. And other than that, look at individual universities. They have their individual funding projects.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, absolutely, I agree with you. And Jonah, there are several tips that I have shared on this YouTube channel about securing master scholarships in Europe, and I also share quite a lot of opportunities on my Twitter handle. So if you can follow me on Twitter, you can find quite a lot of scholarship opportunities. And the thing that you would need to obviously know is, which country do you want to study? Erasmus is quite the best, I would say. I speak about Erasmus every other single day. We are the cousins of Marie Curie, so to say, quote unquote, the cousins, the smaller cousins, So, and I think the structure is almost quite similar in terms of mobility, especially, and in terms of the funding, because each and every step of the way you're funded. So please look out for that. If you want to actually apply for it, you can apply from September all the way to between September and February. Some of the programs might extend their deadlines to March. So please join also the Facebook group for Erasmus, and we can talk about that more. So Joy says here, great motivation, ladies. You really make me feel like going back for a PhD. Yes, please go for it. Go for it. Ask Veronica how she did it, and she, we can form a group all together, and for those who are thinking of doing a PhD and what to go through and all this, I don't know. Anyways, I think those are all the questions so far. I know there's a lot that we can talk about, and maybe we can have you back for the culture shocks and life abroad. And maybe talk about that, maybe here or even on Twitter Spaces. Really, it depends on obviously the availability. But thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here. And Paddy is right here. Paddy says, "What an informative session." Thank you for staying, Paddy.
I have to mention this. Paddy is one of my mentees.
Yes.
I have mentored this student. He has just graduated with a very good degree from the UK. So he will be a very important host for those who are not looking at PhDs, but maybe undergrads and master programs and working abroad. Yeah.
Absolutely. So guys, I think this has been a fantastic discussion. And if you're listening to this much later, please go ahead and interact with us on the comment section. Veronica can be reached on her LinkedIn, maybe if you really want to get some sort of assistance. Please don't go to her LinkedIn and bug her with saying just hi and nothing else after that. I am sure she will not reply to you. Please be very respectful.
But I appreciate it more if you really have an objective for contacting me.
Absolutely. Something worth your time and reading and everything, because people sometimes can misuse social media. So please reach out to her on her LinkedIn. If Facebook is your thing, then you can check out the post that I had on Facebook, and obviously reach out to her on Facebook or on Twitter, depending on your preference, really. And I think this has been very informative, obviously, even for our Erasmus alumni, if they want to shoot their shot after their masters, and maybe they can apply for their PhD scholarships. This is a great opportunity to actually begin the preparation. So thank you so much, Veronica. And I want to ask you one last question, and it's going to be a sentence. You have to say one word. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah, ready.
Marie Curie did this dash for me. What has Marie Curie done? What? Oh, wow. Empowered. Yes. And obviously, I can attest to this. Guys, Veronica here is the Austrian chapter chairperson for Marie Curie. So we are speaking to the very right person. Obviously on this platform. She's a great inspiration from Uganda. You can relate to her story, coming from Uganda, daring into Shanghai, daring into Japan, daring into Austria, having some really great experiences. So why not you? Like, the reason as to why we have these sessions is to tell you that it can be done, and we are an epitome that you can dare abroad, whether that's Europe, Australia, China, wherever you really want to do, you can go for it. So thank you so much.
One last comment.
Yes.
This is not only us in Africa, but everyone else wants to bring closer their own people.
Yeah.
Especially Kenyans. You Kenyans do this a lot. So when you're applying for your PhD, usually the professor or the head of the department has already his students from the master's program, or they have been student workers at the university. They know them. They are Austrian. And for you, you are Kenyan, or you are Ugandan, or you are Sudanese, or you are Chinese. So it's just natural that he will consider the other person who has been closest to him and not you. But the magic about the Marie Curie, as I mentioned, the mobility rule. Yes, you had this student from France for the last 2 years, but they cannot apply for the Marie Curie. It has to be a Kenyan person. So please go for the Marie Curie opportunities. Don't shy away from them.
Yes. Wow. You had it. Go for it. I don't know what's stopping you. So I think I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much, Veronica, for taking your time once again. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, and we hope that we can have more conversations right here or wherever else, really. So thank you so much. And guys, I will leave it at that. Of course, feel free to interact with me on the comment section on my social media handles. My name is Wambura on all of them. So reach out to me again, very respectfully. I don't answer to hey messages. So, you know, hey, I might have all grass. No. Don't just say hi. Introduce yourself very well. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. Bye now.